Okay, guys, I am fixing to call the Federal Reserve. I'm just listening to the speech by Herman Cain, and he was talking about if we wanted to know how the Federal Reserve worked, that we just need to pick up the phone and call it and ask to speak with the PR department, and they'll explain it to us. So we're going to do that now. 968. Is this the Federal Reserve Bank in Liberty Park? Yes, ma'am. Is there anybody in the PR department in?
Support Services, Allison speaking.
Hey, Allison, how are you doing today?
Fine.
Is this the PR department?
Is this the what?
The PR department for the Federal Reserve.
The PR department?
Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am.
No, what are you trying to get?
Herman Cain was in town today. The guy that's running for president, that used to be head of the Federal Reserve.
Yes.
And in one of the speeches he made, he told everybody that if they didn't understand how the Fed worked and whatnot, that we should just call you guys up and ask for the PR department, and you guys could explain it to us. And that's what I was trying to do. I'm doing a project for school, and in our economics class, one of the teachers was having us do this project, so I was calling you up to see if there's somebody I could talk to understand how the Federal Reserve works.
Okay. Hold on just a second, and I'll get you a number or some contact information. Okay, hang on.
That'd be great.
I'm going to transfer you to Julie Cornegie, and she's going to give you a website that has that information on it and maybe something that she can help you with, okay?
That'd be great. Thank you, ma'am.
Hello, Reserve Bank, this is Julie.
Julie, how are you?
I'm well, thanks.
Great. I was calling you up. Herman Cain was in town today.
Yes.
And in one of his speeches we listened to in economics class, he was telling everybody if they didn't understand how the Federal Reserve worked, and that they should quit worrying about it being audited and whatnot, and if they didn't understand it, to just call up and ask for the PR department, and you guys would be happy to explain how everything operates there, and that's what I was doing. So can you help me out?
Well, I can certainly direct you to information regarding the Federal Reserve Bank. Could you tell me one more time your name?
My name is Christopher.
Christopher. And you were in what class today?
Economics class at UAB.
UAB. Okay. So, have you been to the Federal Reserve Bank's website?
No, ma'am, I haven't. I mean, he said to call, and that's what our professor had us do is to call. So, I mean, this was coming directly from him that if we didn't understand how it worked and whatnot, to just call you guys up.
Okay, so...
I'm not being funny. I'm being serious. If you not...
I didn't know that he was in town today. I guess I didn't hear the news.
Yeah, he's actually having lunch over at the rib place over by the Galleria, Alabama Ribs or something. But anyway.
Okay, so if you'd like more information about the structure and function of the Federal Reserve Bank, you can go to the Board of Governors website, and it's federalreserve.gov.
Okay, federalreserve.gov, okay.
And then you there are several tabs across the top, and the first one is labeled About the Fed.
Okay.
And if you want detailed information, there is a publication listed that you can download. It's called the Federal Reserve System Purposes and Functions. And just so you know, it was last revised in 2005, and it's currently being revised again because of the Dodd-Frank legislation, and we're hoping that's going to be done by early 2012.
Okay. Now tell me this. One of the things we went over in class, I had always thought before I started looking into this in my studies and whatnot that the Federal Reserve was federal. And through what research we begin to do, we've come to realize it's no more federal than Federal Express. Is that true?
Well, the Federal Reserve Bank has a federal structure. There are 12 independent banks, and then the Board of Governors is our government body. So
And but
all detailed within the publication that I pointed to.
right, but it's not federal. I mean, when you say something's federal, you think it's part of the government, but Federal Reserve is not federal.
That's correct. The Federal Bureau of Investigations. That is a organization under the Justice Department, but the Federal Reserve banks are not that kind of federal.
Right. So why does it sound? That sounds deceiving. To call it federal when it's not federal. So, do you know why it was called the Federal Reserve? I mean, was that to deceive we the people or was that just a misrepresentation?
Oh, I wouldn't say either. But if you'd like to go and you can look at the Federal Reserve System purposes and functions, and all of that is outlined within the book. And so, who is your instructor at UAB?
Say it again.
Who is your instructor at UAB?
Dr. Joe Smith.
Dr. Smith, okay. Okay, and so if you have any other questions, just feel free to give us a call. But,
Okay, well, one last question. Okay, one last question. Who owns the Fed? Hello?
Yes, I'm here. So if you just wanted to take some time and look through the book, and
Well,
if there are any questions that you have, feel free to give us a call back, or I can put you in contact with our Atlanta office.
Okay. Can you give me that Atlanta office number? Or you may look it up.
No, I'm happy to give it to you.
Okay, go ahead. But who actually owns the Federal Reserve?
That's a very complicated question. I can look that up for you if you like.
Okay, but I mean, in some of the research we've done, it looks like it's offshore bankers that own it. Is that true?
No.
It's not true?
No.
Okay, so who owns it?
All right, so if you go into the Purposes and Functions book, and you click on the first chapter, do you have a computer in front of you?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
Okay, can you follow me?
Oh, I'd love to. Hold on one second. Okay, I'm at my computer. Okay, and what do you want me to go to?
Oh, I'm sorry, I thought I gave you the website.
You did, but I've got it written down. Can you tell it to me one more time?
I'm happy to. It's www.federalreserve.gov.
federalreserve.gov. And you can thank Herman Cain for this, because he's the one that told everybody to go do this, so I'm sorry. Okay, so federalreserve.gov, I'm there.
And if you look at the tabs across the top, and you click on the tab that says About the Fed.
About the Fed. Okay.
And did you see the publication about halfway down the page? This is Purposes and Functions.
Okay, About the Fed. The Federal Reserve System's Purpose and Functions, yes.
Yeah, if you want to click on that.
Okay.
Okay, and I'll give it a second to open up.
Okay.
And then I think it's the first chapter, it says Overview of the Federal Reserve System.
Okay. And one of the I came by there yesterday and went in and it's completely locked up. You can't go through but in the lobby. Why is that?
It's a secure building.
Okay. But then we've learned that there's no money there, so what's so secure that needs to be locked up?
So what I'd like to do is have somebody give you a call back. Is there a phone number where we can reach you?
Yes, ma'am. But there's no money there, so what's so secure that has to be locked up? Does that make any sense?
Well, I think you lock any building, sir. There's not anyone in the lobby.
Right, but I mean, you can't go in past the lobby, though. But why is there no money left in the Fed here in Birmingham?
Is there a number where I can have somebody reach you?
Well, no, can you not answer the question? You don't want to answer the question?
No, sir. I didn't say I didn't want to answer the question. What I was asking you is if I could have somebody call you to answer your question.
You can, but I'd like to know. I mean, if you don't know, just say you don't know. But there's no money in the Federal Reserve in Birmingham, and I was just asking you why.
All right. Well, sir, if there's not a number that I can have somebody call you back, then if you'd like to call the Atlanta Federal Reserve Bank,
okay.
I'd be happy to help you.
Okay, I will.
Okay, thanks. And I hope you have a great day.
Oh, I will. Thank you, ma'am. Bye-bye. Well, as you can see, that was the Federal Reserve in Birmingham, Alabama. And I went by there yesterday and walked around and came across two maintenance workers and asked them if they knew the Federal Reserve was not federal. And they said, of course they did, because they'd done some research. And then I asked them, did they know that there was no money in there? And they said, yeah, there's no money in there. And I was like, well, why is it that I can't even walk in the lobby? What's so secure that they've got everybody locked out? And they said, good question. They didn't know. And as you can see from that phone call just then, the lady did not want to answer any of those questions. And again, Herman Cain is the one that told us to call the Federal Reserve and just ask them. So that's what I did today. And we did get verification that the Federal Reserve is not federal from the young lady. And I asked her who owned the Fed, and she told me that it was very complicated. And she sent me to this site here. And I will do some looking to see if we can find any stuff. Do you have anything to add about the Fed there? Can you give us some info on the Fed? You want to talk about the Fed?
It's owned mostly by foreigners.
I asked her if it was owned by foreigners or offshore banks, and she said no. Is she telling a lie?
Yeah.
She's telling a lie. So how do we know that it's owned by offshore banks?
Owned by the Rothschild family.
Well, what's your thoughts on the Fed?
It's not even constitutional.
The Federal Reserve came into existence when?
1913.
Because of why?
Congress passed barely on a quorum passed the Federal Reserve Act. Are you filming?
Uh-huh.
What's up, Robert?
You don't want to finish talking about it?
Well, are you wanting to? Are you making a film on your own thing?
Finish telling us about the Fed.
Federal Reserve.
I just called the Federal Reserve. And that's it. Got her on the, because Herman Cain told us to call, and I did call.
No, he was not.
He was a wasn't he?
Herman Cain was head of the Federal
St.
Reserve
Louis.
in St. Louis or Chicago.
St. Louis.
I'm filming him.
Why?
I'm putting together a cool film for the Federal Reserve. But finish telling us about the Federal Reserve.
Go and get me.
Yeah, I don't want to.
Go and get me. I don't care.